government. All right. All right. Okay. So I know there's been a lot of talk about how and if we're going to form a government. One of the questions I have to ask, this is a compelling question in my mind. What about the fucking rest of the stuff? Are we okay with the way it is? We're just looking for a new form of government? Are we okay with the fact that we have fought for 120 years? Am I making sense? Can you? Hi. Does that make sense? No?
You're going to speak right into the mic.
Is it because I'm not speaking closer? Okay. I'm going to try this again.
Everybody okay? Can
you hear me now? Okay, so. Like that? Like that? Okay. Okay, again, my name's Uncle Hank. And so I have some really, for me, it's really compelling questions. There's a lot of talk about forming a government, how the government's going to be formed and all that kind of shit. My question is, are we satisfied with the way it is? We're just trying to switch the government? I mean, there seems to be about 120 years of desecration that's happened here and 120 years of theft that's gone on. That we seem to be kind of like just letting it slide down the river here, but we want to change who's going to be in attendance. And I think we're making a grave mistake if you look at it that way. That's like saying Mauna Kea is only sacred because there's one more telescope coming. Like the rest didn't fucking do it already. Sorry, my language. And so, I'm always looking for ideas. I'm looking for ways that actually address or attacks a situation head on. Let me give you a for instance, and I have to do a disclosure first because I'm hot as a motherfucker, okay? I'm tagged, and so they watch me. So I'm going to disclose that I'm not trying to incite anything. However, I'm going to give you an idea that I think is a good one. You know, when it comes to the TMT, one of the big things that they keep talking about is why Hawaii is such a good place, because we have low light indentation. Did you get that? We have low light indentation. That means we don't have surrounding lights. And part of that is because we've replaced the lighting system that works with one that doesn't work, which is these amber lights. These amber lights illuminate. They do not cause light, which causes a lot of problems. If you look at the statistics, you find out that most of the accidents that happen on these islands happen at night. And that happen because of the lack of light and because we only have illumination. And so, given that thought, if low light indentation is one of the pluses for astronomy in Hawaii, we keep fighting about the telescopes. Why don't we change the paradigm and bring back the lights? You know what a car light will do? Just car lights alone, the amount of light indentation that it needs would make it uncomfortable for the astronomers. Just a thought. Sorry, I think that way. I also wanted to address this Naya Puni thing. I think this is a really important thing to wrap around your heads. I don't care whether they're calling it Naya Puni or Kanailu Valu or Kauino or whatever the fuck they want to call it this week. You gotta excuse my language because I kind of grew up that way and I talk that way and that's just the way it is. But anyway, it all leads to federal recognition under United States domestic law. And that's the problem. You cannot be sovereign under somebody else. And that's the problem. I don't care how it's disguised. As long as it's under somebody else, you're not going to be sovereign. And that's where the problem lies. Now, the best that whole thinking can achieve for you is what is described as sovereignty under United States domestic law, which is contrary in terms you can't be sovereign under something else. And so this is very important to understand because There's a lot of people out there thinking to themselves that, you know, we gotta fit it, we cannot just ignore this. And I say, no, I don't want you to ignore it either. But I don't think that you should suddenly let down your guard and let this disease that they've been trying to do for over 10 years now. They started off with the Akaka bill, right? Now all this stuff with the DOI and everything is the same creature. It's the same beast every single time, coming with a little different decoration on it. But it's the same thing. It's all designed to make you under United States domestic law. If you want to know how that is, go ask the Indians. I'll tell you exactly what it's like to be under United States domestic law. And look how much of them are losing their own reservations today. I think the Navajo are fighting a big one having to do with depleted uranium. It didn't matter what the reservation said, because their reservation had to do with the top of the land. Now it's underneath it. And this is a very, very important thing to understand. Because if you don't understand how that works, this is what they're trying to sell you. They're trying to sell you the top of the land. The rest of all the rest underneath, all the minerals and everything else is theirs, including the sky. Now, if you're a sovereign country, that sky is yours. It's very important to understand that too, because at one time Hawaii, the only thing that we had in Hawaii, at least we thought, was our agricultural produce, like pineapple, sugarcane, that kind of stuff. And at that time, that was true. We didn't have a whole lot of things to negotiate with. Today, we've got over 90 satellites sitting in our parking lot. You better believe there's revenues that we haven't touched up there. And you think, oh, it's gonna go get it for us? Oh, no. You think Nile Puni's gonna get it for us? No, they're trying to get you to Nile Puni, so you cannot get to that spot. Because then you're gonna be truly independent. And so these efforts are really, you know, I almost didn't want to talk because we're talking to the same people every single time. I see you guys, I've been seeing you guys for 20 years, same guys. We're not doing a good enough job in reaching further out than just our own gang. And that's problematic, because that means they continually grow and they keep getting bigger and stronger, and we keep on losing our numbers. Yeah? So I'm going to say something that may be a little bit out of my color, okay? And I'm going to tell you that I actually think that the structure that the lawful government works under is actually the correct structure, okay? I think it has to do a whole lot better in how it formulates itself, how it figures out its elections, and how it goes about getting people involved in it. But structurally, and I've said that to Henry from the very day one, structurally, he's absolutely right. It's right out of the damn book. I mean, that's not hard to figure out. What is hard to figure out is how to get over this hump, because it's got a stump on it, okay? And it's got a tinge to it that people don't want to even address it. And that is a problematic thing. Now, my way of looking at it is if it's because of Henry, if people don't like Henry, then either get rid of Henry or start another thing just like his. It'll still be the same damn thing. You still need a government, a functional government operation. And so, I would think that we'd be smart enough to utilize the one that's already set up and readjust the way it's being played. That'd probably be a lot easier and faster for us. But I certainly don't buy the way it is right now. It's not good enough for me right now. But I'm also not interested in working 16 years to try to build up another one either. So I'd like to take that 16 years and groom it up a little bit. But I also think that we have to start thinking that, look, this is not just a Hawaiian problem, okay? Hawaii is not a spectator sport. Everybody seems to think that, oh, the Hawaiians are doing this, the Hawaiians are doing that. No, bro. Everybody in this room is losing. We're all losing. We're losing more and more by the day. Whether you're a Hawaiian or not, if you want to be here, you're losing. Until you're on the right side of things and understand it's the thought process. I don't think anybody would have any problem at all if the check said from the Kingdom of Hawaii and not from the state. As long as we still had the same function and the checks could be cashed, would be no problem at all. And so, think about that. How do we create that situation that makes it desirable, where all we're really changing is who collects the bills, who collects the rent, and then what do we do with that rent once we've got it? And do we include things like, if we went back and just thought, look at the kapu system. The kapu system in the past was basically environmental oriented. It had to do with things like, you can't pick up the lobster when they're having babies, okay? When they're making eggs. That kind of stuff. You can't kill certain fish certain times, that kind of stuff. And it was very reasonable, very easy to understand the law. That's why, breaking it, there was only one penalty, and that was death, because you knew damn well what you were doing was wrong. When you have a system like we have today, where you have to sit there and fucking argue this thing over and over and over again, you know, I like Mao Zedong's idea. Let's just go shoot all the lawyers in the fucking head and go over it. Just move on with this stuff. Anyway. There's a whole lot of promise for all the people here if we started thinking nationally, And let me make that very clear too, because one of the reasons I don't support lawful government in its entirety is because they do not recognize the crown. And I think it's very, very important that you recognize the crown, because with the crown comes the land. Without land, you don't have anything to negotiate. So that's one thing that I would strive to overcome. But there's things that we gotta watch today, things that we gotta pay attention to today. For instance, water. Okay? There's a company outside here in KL that is selling off so much fucking water. More water is being sent off this island and is consumed by this island every day by one organization who is taking water illegally. Although they claim to have a permit. Did you guys give them permission? Because we have an undivided interest here. So I don't know who gave them their permission that they think they had, but I think that we need to pay attention to that. I know there was a case just like that on Kauai, and Kauai won. So what I'm trying to say is that if you're not into the frontline action, there's always sideline actions that you can get into that don't cause you to get overly effective necessarily, but you can be very effective. Like writing letters about your lights, about water use. If we looked at the compass system and understood it to be environmental, then you'd understand why it's so important to use water 1,000 times before it hits the ocean. And in that process, do you bring all the nutrients from the mountain back down to the sea. So the reefs can grow. Now you also leave it so the fish can go up the streams and migrate and spawn. But what I'm trying to say is this, the process is very cyclic. And it's not that difficult to understand. It's not difficult at all to understand. It is really easy to see it, especially if you go to some place like Hawaii, it's really easy to see how an ahupua'a would work and why it works and why you have such divisions. But an ahupua'a is really a microcosm. It's a self-sufficient entity in itself. It should be able to function as a whole unit into itself. So you go someplace like Hawaii, you can really see it really easy when you see the streams coming down and you see that the water doesn't have an exit. And then you can look at the fish right there, and you can see all these fish with all these kakilas all over the body. And the biggest reason why is because you don't have an outlet for the river. It's stopping down right at the ocean. And so what's happening there is you're preventing the water, fresh water from going down, carrying in fresh nutrients that nourish the reef. The reef brings the fish. That kind of stuff. It's a very cyclic type of thing. Anyway, there's a whole lot of stuff to be thinking about and how to do it, far more than just government. And so I encourage everybody to think and understand this is not a spectator sport. Everybody can do something. So let's all throw it in and figure out what we can do. Thank you.